Hello, world, and welcome back to Roll and Keep, and welcome back to our playtest of Tales of Xadia, the official TTRPG of Wonderstorm's The Dragon Prince, all powered by Cortex Prime. I got sentences for days.
Yeah,
This
bars.
isn't just the playtest. This is the last episode of our playtest of Tales of Xadia until we come back to the world. So this is like this is going to be the capper on this first little volume. Which I'm super stoked about. Some terrible things are at hand for my cast. And who is that cast? Aliza Pearl is with us from Nerdist and Geek and Sundry and Streampunks and the Improvised generation from Ripley Improv. An amazing lady. Make sure you're following. Also, make sure you're following Mellie, Doucette, our incredibly wonderful community manager slash person I rely on for most of my day, every day. I have come to find out. My go-to in case of glass, here is a Mellie, or in case of fire, break glass, and then there's just a Mellie inside. Vanessa Guerrero from the El Rey Network and the Kicking and Screaming podcast. Make sure you're subscribed. Amazing podcast where they take a martial arts movie and a horror movie to make a really cool double feature and talk about it. It's super fun. And of course, Cam Banks, the creator of Cortex Prime, our strict rules daddy, with the fresh fade, by the way. Very nice haircut, very handsome, sir. The lead developer of Tales of Xadia, who helps us through the system when I don't do things correctly. Who is I? I'm Joe Starr. You probably know me from Honest Trailers. I'm the senior content manager at Fandom Tabletop and D&D Beyond, and I will be your narrator. A little bit of business, and then we're going to get into the game. First of all, the Tales of Xadia playtest is available to download right now. And of course, the full Tales of Xadia book is available for pre-order right now. There is a link in the description if you're watching on YouTube in the future. And if you are on Twitch with us right now, welcome. And thank you guys so much for being here. They're dropping links all over the chat, just like hotcakes, just dropping them, just dropping. We're live here on Twitch every Thursday. VODs drop on YouTube on Monday. To thank you guys for tuning in live with us today. We're giving away copies of Cortex Prime. Giveaways are triggered by heroic successes. What's a heroic success? You're going to find out. Well, you know what? I hope you don't find out. I don't want these players to roll any heroic success.
How dare.
And if it seems like things are going my way and it's just hitch on hitch on hitch for them, maybe we'll give away books for hitches and player death. Not just character death.
Oh my gosh.
Player death.
It just escalated
Everything
hard.
just escalated. And then, again, this is our last episode for Tales of Xadia for a little bit. Obviously not the last episode of Roll and Keep. We're keeping this train going, baby. And next week, Mellie, where are we going to be?
Eidolon Alpha, a kind of Greek mythology-esque inspired setting with some giant kaiju monsters, and you're all gonna love it.
Yes, very into it. If you like Final Fantasy, if you like Blood of Zeus, if you like them big monsters, if you like Clash of the Titans, if you like movies about gladiators, I'm just gonna go into a full airplane bit.
How many like Greek mythology kind of things can we name?
We'll see you guys next week for that. It's going to be super fun. With that, for now, let's return to the floating city of Anine and let's return to Tales of Xadia. Four individuals were brought together by a mysterious moon shadow elf named Feathershaw. Their quest: investigate the forgotten, abandoned, and floating city of Anine, drifting high across the Xadian sky to claim a powerful artifact called the Primal Well. I'm going to pause because there are so many dogs right outside. I don't know if you can hear them. Maybe you just think I'm crazy, but there are so many
Turns
dogs.
out there are dogs on Anine.
It turns out, dogs confirmed. Loud,
It's
loud
just the
dogs.
2 wolves inside of you.
Which one?
There are 2.
Hey, the floating city of Anine. Let's rewind. Sorry, dogs happened. Their quest: investigate the forgotten, abandoned, and floating city of Anine, drifting high across the Xadian sky to claim a powerful artifact called the Primal Well before the island collides with the mountain range at the border. The group quickly discovered that Anine is not at all abandoned. It's inhabited by a society of wingless skywing elves torn from the pages of the history books. From there, things have gotten steadily worse, and that's after the island collided with the mountains, beginning its dramatically slow collapse. Failure is a funny thing. Donning the cuirass of Vuxen, the magical armor Gnostics created to handle the Primal Well, albeit at a terrible cost, Vanessa seized control of the mysterious arcane object, only to realize that doing so had removed the floating part of the phrase floating city. As Babacar and Winda teamed up to defeat a visiting trio of rampaging giant centipedes, angry that their mountain nest had been disturbed by a crashing island, as you would be, Feathershaw and Olana oversaw the evacuation of the people of Anine from their collapsing home to the mountains below. Meanwhile, Eljal found a powerful magic item, a cloak of flight, with the help of Wiggy the chicken and, okay, sorry, hang on, back up, where were we? Failure. Failure is a funny thing. Desperately trying to reactivate the well, the decidedly non-magical Vanessa somehow reset the artifact for Earth instead of sky, and the well began pulling the Earth to it, starting with the cellar the 2 elves were standing in. And yet failure can give way to crazy ideas, and with an assist from Eljal's Cloak of Flight, Vanessa has managed to turn the regurgitating island into a highway to safety for all of Anine. Or has she? As our heroes arrive safely on the mountain, Winda returns to the chaos of the island to save Olana. And that's where we'll start. Winda, as you charge back into, what can be described as just a vomiting island. There's earth and buildings twisting and swirling and heaving all around you as they move to follow Bonetta, who moments before just leapt off the side of the island. You run back into the eye of the storm, for lack of a better word, where you find helping an injured skywing elf that you've never seen before, who's clutching just this, who's just holding this armful of old books in her arm. You see Olana helping this woman limp, try to limp to safety, to try to catch up with everyone else. Although the problem with that is there's a very finite amount of island to be standing on left at this point as the island continues to retreat from itself. What would you like to do?
I don't even have time to talk to Olana, so I gotta find out a thing right now.
As a player, you don't even really have time to think this out. I'm gonna start putting a lot of pressure on you.
Okay, is there any rope or anything nearby that I can use to kind of create a zip line from where we are down?
Sure, screw it. There's stuff flying everywhere. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a keep that was just full of weirdness. There's a quinoa bell nearby. There's a town square nearby. There's stores, there's shops, there's stuff all over the place right now. So as you're sort of running, you're kind of thinking fast and just sort of reaching out and grabbing really kind of anything that you can at this point. And you do find like a length of rope that's coiled up on itself It was in the stable, which, why do they have a stable? I don't know. It was there maybe before the island became a floating island.
Okay, so I want to try and tie that rope to something that's still kind of like big and strong and still on the island for however many seconds that we have left, and I want to try and fire the arrow to the ground so I can give Alana and this stranger my bow to zipline down.
Okay, cool. So at this point, what's left of the island kind of looks like a weird Escher painting.
Okay.
There's stairs going that way, and there's a building going that way, and there's another building going this way. You get it. As Winda is looking down occasionally, there's just sky in some places. The ground just ends and is like, in some places is just loosely connected by, say, a cobblestone, or just like a couple of bricks. So as Winda starts sort of, oh God, I hate to do it. It's one of my least favorite things in a movie ever. But remember in The Hobbit when Legolas just starts dancing up the collapsing bridge? Oh, dang it. Why'd it go into my head?
We're using a Hobbit reference.
We're hobbiting.
We're hobbiting.
So let's set up our first roll as you do your best to close distance to the currently trapped Alana and this lady she has been attempting to save.
Okay.
And to reference back at the end of last week, the island got its chance to roll as you jerks just kept rocking and rolling on this little crisis pool, which was very frustrating. So the island got to roll, but the island didn't roll against any of you. The island rolled against Alana. It was a low roll, if you remember correctly, and that's why she's alive. That said, this is going to be a little tough, Winda.
Okay.
So we're kicking things off with 2d10s for this difficulty. And I'm rolling
2d10s.
Opportunity, you might say.
And out the gate, I've really blown it.
Oh.
I'm gonna be so mad if I can't beat this. Okay, so this is something in which I need to be very fast. So we're going agility. Mastery for the arrows or devotion? Because
what's motivating you?
Devotion, because what else would make me run back onto a collapsing island I've been trying to avoid?
Oh, absolutely.
Nothing else. And then we're gonna go foolhardy friend.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because this is a foolhardy thing to do, and then light crossbow. Because that's my handy dandy little weapon. And now I roll.
Wow!
Gosh, only
Get out of your
just.
teeth.
Wow.
The fates!
Oh,
My goodness.
Man, I know Ivlan is next week, but the Greek tragedy is happening right now.
Oh.
Okay.
Talk about a mixed bag. Wow.
Right?
Oh.
Not even on any wiggle room, but just 1 point in there. That was the bare minimum you could get and still do it, right?
Wow.
That was my
I feel like you're about to get some stress though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yep. Okay. Let's see here. What's this mean? Okay. So yeah, first of all, that stress is going to come in the form of okay, well, first of all, before we figure out what that stress means, Winda, let's talk out what you just barely succeeded in doing.
Okay, so what I barely just succeeded in doing is the quinoa bell, my trusty quinoa bell, is now over my head at this point. So I tie the rope as tight as I can to it, and then tie the other end to one of my arrows and fire it towards the ground.
Okay.
And I've now like built a zip line that is slowly about to be not a zip line, and I have one crossbow to hook onto it.
Okay. So Alana sees you. They start moving. This duo starts moving towards you, moving very slowly, by the way, because this lady is refused. She drops a book at one point and then goes to pick up the book. It's like when you try to take your laundry out of the dryer without putting it back in a hamper, and you're just like, I got this, and you keep dropping like single socks, and then you get to trying to pick up the other sock, and then you drop a pair of pants. So it's that situation, but with priceless books and history. And also they're gonna die if this keeps happening.
Otherwise the same, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise the exact same.
Just high stakes laundry.
So to sort of speed up this process, Winda, you sort of take a run towards them.
Yeah.
And start just gathering up books behind them as you're sort of trying to like push them along.
Just like these books better be important for the fact that one of us is probably gonna die.
Yes, exactly. And as you are nudging them like to the crossbow, Alana just like stares at you with these like just these wide eyes. And for just a moment, Winda, time stops. What's Winda do with that moment?
So I don't really have a lot of time left, considering there's a whole island imploding. So I'm just gonna let her know that Alana, I have a really good idea too. And you're not gonna like me for this one, but I'm doing it because I like you and I like your good ideas. And I give her and the librarian the crossbow, and I send them off.
As Olana starts to take this like moment and her face starts to kind of like contort and freak out because she realizes what you're saying, her reaction is not one that you would expect as you sort of like push them on their way. Instead of like, no, or Winda, or I'll always love you, she's like, look out behind you. And you take let's step up your physical stress twice, because a hand grabs you by the sort of scruff of the neck cloak area here and tosses you very hard into a crumbling piece of building behind you.
No!
And as the stars sort of readjust in your eyes, you look up to see a very twisty-faced, very angry-looking Gnostics. We cut away to...
No!
What?
Oh dear.
Oh no.
That was injured stress, right? Injured?
Yes, yeah. So so she's pretty injured.
Plot twist.
Yeah, so that was the hitch, right? So like Winda, you got a plot point and you got 2 steps of injury.
Right.
So D8 is what, unless you already had some. I don't think you did. I think you were fine.
No, I don't think she did.
Yeah, so D8.
D8.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh, wow. And then plot point.
So we cut back. Vanessa is in this really cool 3-point hero pose. Eljal, Babukar, along with Feathershaw and Necrex, and the mannequin, his dad mannequin that he's still
Dadakin?
clutching. His Dadakin. I think a Dadakin is the sack that a dad carries their baby in. I think it's called a Dadakin. I'm 90% sure it's called a Dadakin. All of you are sort of in various stages of stepping onto the island safely and kind of regrouping a little bit, and you see all of you see Bonetta just in this very like badass pose in front of the primal well, which is now it's kind of interesting. Instead of the island like rumbling all around it and just like falling into piles, there's like there's what looks like the ornate and tricked out stones that formed the floor around the primal well, and they're now just sort of like in this weird sort of jagged, almost blade shaped arrow point that's sort of like looping above, or it's pointing like at the top of the well, and then the rest of the island is sort of coming to a stop almost, and it's wrecked and it's ruined and it looks insane and ridiculous, but it's just holding. The primal well is just like holding it into place above the island. So if mountain, then island. Just this wreck of what was Anine is now just sort of floating there for now, as the wreckage sort of continues to pile up and smash it. It's a very violent looking process above you, but it's also a very like specific looking process, if that makes any sense. And so as this is happening above the group, the scene is yours. What would you like to do?
I think if I'm gonna extract myself away from this rocks coming in, that seems like a good idea, and just taking a like stock of everybody around, and I'm seeing like people getting here, and you know, Eljal's doing amazing stuff and showing people how to use this rock path, and then I see like Feathershaw, and I'm just like looking, and I don't see Winda, and I'm just gonna like kind of ask, where's the little human girl? Has anybody seen the human? Anybody? She's
so
the one without the ears at the horns.
I've been coming kind of near the back. Was I coming near the back doing the whole sort of sealing up the bridge type trick?
Yes. So I think at this point, especially once everyone was jumping on pieces of the island to make it, you were a part of that group.
Yeah. So and I didn't see her. Did I see her go back in? Did I see her do anything?
I'll give that to you. You guys were together, centipede wrangling. So yeah, logic would dictate you saw Winda dash back into the Hellmouth.
I will say, I'll turn and say she was right here with me, and then she went back in. Don't worry, sister. I'll make my way back over.
We don't have much time, Babu.
Oh, this seems to be holding itself quite well.
I mean, for getting Winda and anybody else off, right?
Joe, do I get the impression that this is going to stick, or is it just holding here briefly before it all flies apart and collapses on things, or what?
You know, I don't know. You never really dealt with anything like the Primal Well before. On one hand, it looks like it's sticking kind of decently. On the other hand, and then on the other hand, you know, Anine floated for a pretty long time. So it definitely feels weird to stand under.
Sure does. I'm like gonna start taking off the cloak of flight. I'm kind of trying to get a sense if it's safe here or not, because there's people starting to gather. Like, are there other threats? Because there were centipedes, but I'm also gonna move towards Eljal and be like, you are, I think, the fastest of us. Maybe you should have this in case we need to do something quickly. And I'd like to spend a plot point to give that asset back to you, Eljal.
Cool.
So that's a D10 Cloak of Flight.
Okay, sweet. As you are sort of getting back together and sort of figuring out what the next steps are, Feathershaw has also joined the three of you, looking oddly concerned that Winda has not yet returned. And as you're handing over the cloak, a little voice says, "Are your dogs friendly?"
Dogs
Pareka is just like pointing sort of further into the mountain range, and there's a sizable pack of hill wolves that have now sort of like crested the rising, are kind of starting to growl and sniff out this sudden group of elves and wreckage that has started causing all of this commotion on the mountain. It's a bad mountain, you guys, is what I'm saying. There's centipedes, and now there's wolves.
So the dogs outside your place were foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's I mean, it is the border, right? It's the border for a reason. It's not supposed to cross it.
That's fair. Yeah, I am gonna draw my Sunforged blade and kind of try to step in front of the small child. And I turn to Bobby and I'm like, I think we've got this. If John, maybe you can get everyone off who's left on the island.
Yeah, I'll go look for Winda and anyone else who's still there. And I'm gonna
Do we have like the whole city population more or less on the mountain now, or?
Yeah, everybody with the exception of, there's like just a few more people that are now just like stepping onto the mountain. The chicken guy seems to be the last.
Has Alana come in yet with the librarian?
No, not yet. So kind of the way the scene looks right now, Eljal, is there are people sort of finding their folks and gathering into these small little groups, and now but people have started to like see these wolves that have stepped in to investigate, and people are starting to panic and freak out a little bit.
Yeah, I put on the cloak.
Okay.
And I look up at it sounds like a shard of island sticking.
That's a good description.
Mountain. Okay.
A big old shard of something. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I look up at it and I'm just I'm coming for you, Winda. And I just take off.
Amazing. So Eljal like takes this running start, maybe steps up a few of these pieces of island that are still a little maybe floaty and stuff like that, and uses them to kick off and head back up to the island. Eljal, as you are flying, and the cloak works as well. Hang on, let's roll for this. I want to figure out exactly how well this works.
I do have the asset for it. So.
Yes, you've got the asset.
I have the asset for it.
You're really pulling off that cloak.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
So we're gonna make this a 2d8 difficulty.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll, and it's gonna be bad. Oh my lord!
Oh no!
Must be the last
Oh no!
friggin' episode.
Literally can't. Well, no.
Don't pull a
Well,
move.
I know,
Yeah.
right.
I don't wanna...
Okay, I'm gonna go with agility. I will say devotion because we don't want to leave anyone behind.
Mm-hmm.
We
Especially not a
only
party
have one
member.
human.
We only have one human with us, and it would be bad if we lost them because then it's like we can't protect humans.
Very fleshy.
very
Easy to
fleshy,
break.
very squishy, fleshy humans.
Squishy, fleshy humans.
And then
Flesh child human.
our flesh child. I'll say Moonshadow Elf. Well, you know what? What if I do a 4 and a PP because I'm usually sent to assassinate people, not save them.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
good.
get that plot point.
Okay.
I like it.
And then the cloak, which is a D10. Yeah, D10. All right. Let me get this roll. Okay. Whoo! Whoa!
Wow.
That's a lot of heroic successes, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh,
A double heroic success.
Do you think, Joe, that beat your difficulty total, or?
Yes. Yeah, Jed.
Where are your threats now,
I
narrator?
know. I get nervous when we mock the DM because
Because then I'm stuck on a floating island.
Yeah, that's true.
So, okay, heroic success. Here we go. Eljal is, takes that step, jumps sort of up and back towards this now just like kind of levitating
superhero.
vomited mass. Yeah, just pure superhero. The cloak. As Eljal's jumping, they like put the hood up, and as you do that, and as it starts to catch wind, the wings come out and expand and flap, and you literally start flying. Weirdly, the cloak kind of does the work for you, right? It seems to kind of know what you're trying to do. So if you've never had wings or tried to flap your bird wings correctly, it doesn't really matter. Apparently, the cloak of flight comes with an idiot's guide. Which is super, super handy, right? As you're flying, something's like coming closer and coming closer and coming closer and coming closer, and then you realize it's Olana holding a what looks like a crossbow being used as a zip line for dear life, while another Skywing elf clutches around her waist for dear life while also clutching a bunch of books. And this was going to just be a funny bit, and then you rolled this stupid heroic success. But like as you're passing, the lady loses hold of a book, and she's like, "Oh no, our lost tome of Sunfire magic!" And it's going to be a hilarious bit, but you rolled real well, so you're able to just go snooch and like grab hold of this book. And as they go by, she's like, "Yay, the lost tome of Sunfire magic!" But sort of that said, you come up and land on what is now kind of a somewhat stable, although just nightmarish remainder of Enin, right? There are pieces of building pointing down. There's floors going, ceilings or floors, and walls or roofs, and dogs and cats living together. You get what I'm saying. You land on what looks like it was a chunk of a living room, which is now just facing the sky. There are actually pieces of, because everything that's made of stone is turned in on itself, you see like there are pieces of furniture and stuff like that and landscaping and everything that have actually just been like trapped inside the stone. Like there's a chair stuck inside two pieces of stone that have squeezed together, and like the chair has splintered in half. So it's it looks really intense is what I'm saying. But because you rolled so friggin' well, that's when you land and you find Nosix standing over a dazed Winda, and he is monologuing a bunch, so he has not noticed your arrival.
What does he say?
Heroic success. So Nosix is just like angrily pacing around Winda, just hundreds and hundreds of years of our culture down the drain because you thieves came to my island. You thieves broke the purity of our culture, our unique, our one-of-a-kind culture. Floating high over the skies of Xadia, you came here, you ruined it, you sped up the island, you brought us closer to the mountain before I could come up with a solution to save my people. You human. And now that I've lost that culture that I have fought so hard to protect, that I've sacrificed so much to protect, that I've sacrificed me to protect. And so that's kind of where he's going, Eljal.
Thank God I'm dazed for this.
Yeah. Can I say that I land undetected by I was confused the names. Nosix or Necrix?
Yep, and Nosix. Yep.
Nosix. undetected by him. I see that Winda is dazed and probably on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I'm like, uh-oh, this is not good. And I would like to sneak up on Nosix and do some type of acrobatic tumble onto him so I land and pin him down.
All right, cool. Let's do
Finally
this.
get
So
to
this
use
is
my
gonna
sneaking.
be a contest
Okay.
between these two. Rules Daddy, if you see a better way of approaching this, please let me know.
No, I'm
Um,
assuming that Nosix is not going to want to have this happen to him.
Correct.
And just by leading off, it means that Eljal is setting it up, and then Nosix has to try and do better, and then back and forth until one of them gives in or whatever. I think that the key is knowing what the outcome that's desired is
Is trying to be, which seems to be pinning and trapping
Mhm.
Elgin.
Yeah.
And you're going to succeed because I'm going to roll horribly. So yeah, go ahead and kick us off with your pool.
What? You just
Elder.
out of curiosity, what size is Nosix's catalyst die now? Just because I'm concerned about that.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Because I think it's a D10 now, but it might be.
No, it's actually back down to a D8.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think he.
Oh yeah,
lost it.
because the last time that he got
Mhm.
KO'd.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So
Okay, well that's good.
although I should have just done some final form shenanigans and narrated say so, and now he's full one.
Maybe
wing
he's
and
got a
ankle,
new
but-
SFX.
Okay. I'm gonna go with agility again.
Cool.
I want to say either devotion. I think it's devotion. Yeah. Shadow Elf. I think this time to my advantage. And then sneaking. I don't think I've used this before. My specialty
No.
of sneaking.
We keep telling you how great you are at being a roguey assassin type person.
Yeah.
And not giving you the sneaky times.
And now I have the sneaky times. All
Did
right.
you- and also, I mean, are you using that cloak, that flight cloak, to like?
Oh,
anything?
I do still have it on. So I guess
Feel
I could
free.
just roll it. Yeah, okay. I'll just roll that. Oh, it's a big. Okay. I want to jinx it.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice opening salvo from the Moonshadow Elf.
Yeah,
But
Nosix should be scared.
you but okay, here we go. Oh yeah, well, it's gonna be a terrible roll. All right. So for Nosix, this is sort of this will be interesting. So yeah, his catalyst die is back to a D8. Right now, for his distinction, he's operating purely out of dark secrets. That like everything's come to the forefront now. Even to him, his secrets have been revealed. How far he's willing to go. I think he's really suddenly realizing where his priorities were. They weren't quite with Soup. They were for the preservation of his little Pleasantville at all costs. So for his value, we're going justice. This is a greater good situation for Nosix. And he is out for justice. He has been greatly wounded, grievously wounded by this group of thieves. And he wants his revenge. He wants his justice. I'm going to leave out his specialties. I think normally he'd be ready to rock with sky magic, but he's not particularly paying attention. So I'm leaving it out because he is being snuck up on. That said, he
Oh,
does
no.
have
What is
does
that?
have a necklace of warning.
No.
Oh, yep.
Oh no.
Forgot about that.
Oh,
He does have a little bit of spidey sense.
So he was just like totally prepared for this.
I'm like reading his sheet, and then I get to that. I'm like, what? Oh, wait. Doesn't that mean I win?
Unless
Yeah.
Joe spends Gnostic's PP.
Can I do that too?
You'll get to roll again if
Yeah,
you
so
want.
you'll get to roll again. So
Okay.
so
If-
yes.
If you spend that plot point, Joe, to move that 3 in the effect die over to the total,
Yeah.
then it makes it 16, which is pretty scary because
Hi.
Yeah. Which we're doing it.
that's a big
I
number.
have to
and,
cheat 16.
Aliza, do you have any stress?
I don't think so. 'Cause
Yeah,
that
No,
can
I don't
carry
think Eldril
over-
has any stress.
I don't
Yeah,
think so either.
yeah.
No.
So like, but she could buy that hitch with a plot point, right, Cam? And she could step up an asset if
She could buy it with a plot point and step up the cloak to D12.
Would that be a permanent step up for that asset? Or
No, just for this
just once?
contest.
Okay.
Mhm.
Still valid.
But I mean,
Okay. Do I do my next?
Yep.
Next roll?
Let's do it.
Okay. Well,
same as before. But this time you
Yeah.
got to beat a 16.
agility. For my values, well, now I feel like it's gonna switch from devotion because now it's like I want to beat this person. He's fighting back. Can I say mastery?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moonshadow Elf. I guess I'm not sneaky anymore.
Well, what are the so it's
The thing
It's-
is, I think it still counts because you're sort of, I mean, the contest is about doing this, and it's a momentary. This is all happening really quickly. I would imagine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
And so,
True.
I still think it works, and I would still sort of count that under the fact that you're like a cool little ninja.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, like even though he can sense you, like you're still really good at doing your
Mhm.
business.
Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna step up that flight cloak, spend my plot point, one of my 2 plot points, and put in a D12 for the cloak.
Cool. And that's how you do it.
Ooh.
That is how you do it.
17's exactly what you needed.
Ooh.
Oh, the rolls tonight.
And the effect die is the D12. That's fantastic.
Oh,
Whoa.
I was like
Whoa.
anxiety twitching.
So now
Also-
it's like,
Before you keep going, Aliza, I think one of the things that you could consider doing, because Joe is going to have to try and beat this.
Yes.
You said you had a plot
I
point
have
left.
one more left, yeah.
You could move one of those other dice in there and keep it, make it real big.
stick a 6 in.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Oh,
I'm gonna take the 6 and bring it over.
a 23.
That's so
Cool.
good.
All right.
So, Cam, really quick though,
Yeah.
what are the options at this point in a contest? Gnostics could give in, right? But what happens
Correct.
if he gives in or if he loses? What's the difference?
So the difference will be, well, normally if you lose, you take stress, but you still don't give in. You don't give up what you want because I mean you're being pressured to do it, but you're resisting. So you take stress, but maybe you will be fine. The thing is, I think in this case, depending on what Joe rolls, if your roll, Joe, is less than 5 under whatever Algal just got, like if you roll and you get 18 or less, that can makes Algal's roll a heroic success and steps that D12 to beyond D12, which takes Norsix out of the fight entirely, right? So that would be a completely total winner. If Norsix gives in, Norsix gets a plot point and Algal gets what they want,
Mhm.
but there's no stress involved. and Nozzix is still in the scene.
The Gnostics will be pinned, but no stress and with a plot point.
Right. Would Gnostic's catalyst die drop again?
For this one, yeah, I think.
I think it would.
Oh no, no, it wouldn't. They didn't lose anything.
Yeah, it's only when they lose or win a contest.
Okay.
Giving in's the third option.
Giving him
Well-
will not change it.
Gnostic's crazy, so he's not giving in.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
so all right, let me build this pool.
So Gnostics is out if Gnostics rolls 18 or less.
mhm.
Yep. Um,
Like I need to take a walk.
let's see here. Yeah, still kind of coming from the same place here. Justice, Dark Secrets, Catalyst. The Necklace of Warning still very much in play here, sort of helping him spidey sense through the situation. We're also going to put this sky magic situation into play now. And let's find out what happens.
Not looking good, man.
Nope. No, it is not. It's really not. Okay. So here's how this works. Eljal, because I what I like about going through these contests is actually treating them like as like moment to moment, like what actually happens, right? So Eljal, you sort of like swoop in, and the wings of the cloak sort of pop out to help do this like kind of glide attack at the very last second. Gnostic's spidey sense triggers, and he turns around at just the last second, and like just like kind of Tai Chi's you past him, you know, kind of. But then you're able to just like recover it. That was him winning that one little moment, and you're sort of able to recover very, very quickly. And what happens to Gnostics? Are you trying to pin him? What are you trying to do?
I imagine it was almost like a bullfight type of move he just did to me. So I like kind of go past him, and then I turn around and then go straight right back at him, charging him.
Cool. What's at the end of that charge? A pin, a kick?
I would say maybe like a knockdown.
Because he's out. He's out of the scene entirely.
He's been
now.
taken out of
Is
the
this the
scene. Yeah,
one?
what type
Yeah,
of
okay.
stress would you want to
Oh.
give him? 'Cause
Well,
you get
know
to
what?
tell.
If he's out of scene, then let's just say I charge him, and I'm kind of pissed at this point, so I don't even know my own strength, and I just like push him off the shard.
Oh no!
He just goes flying off the shard.
So the last thing you see is Gnostics, kind of Alan Rickman and Die Hard style, going like,
And then I'm like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Oops.
Oh jeez.
Because I did.
so
Oops.
Gnostics MIA. Definitely not gone because I love him too much.
Also, Skywing Mage. I mean, falling, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's lots of chunks of land in the air right now, but holy whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Oopsies.
But that said, Eljal, you're standing up there with Winda. Winda, you're kind of starting to, you're not dead. You're not unconscious. You were just kind of good and messed up for a little bit, but you're starting to shake off those cobwebs.
Thanks for the assist.
All right. That didn't look like a good situation.
Would you believe that it's only the most second stressful part of my day? The first would be in which I told a girl that I liked her and I pushed her off a cliff.
Ah, well, that makes two of us who pushed someone off a cliff today.
Yeah,
All right, we should probably get off of here, by the way.
what do I grab onto? Because my shot for going down just zipped that way.
Just like grab me, and then the cloak will take us away.
So I'm just gonna like koala, like I'm gonna baby Bjorn on
Yeah.
the front of Eljal.
It's called a Datikin. Thank you.
Datikin.
And it comes back around.
So the two of you swoop off back down towards the mountain. Let's deal with some wolves.
Yay.
Vanessa,
Oh,
the two of you in Feathershaw are doing your best to stand between the refugees and about like a dozen wolves. They're
doesn't.
just like a dozen wolves. No big deal. I'm gonna tell you what they look like in like any minute now. I'm really just pausing to kind of for
effect.
for suspense and
yeah.
for effect. Yeah. Man, they look crazy. Have you ever wondered what a wolf would look like if you sort of also made it a llama,
Yes.
but also still made it brutally horrifying and dangerous looking? That's what they look like.
llama wolves.
I'm gonna say no. I didn't.
Well,
Really?
now you have, because my narrative skills are unmatched.
Well,
And
I
it's
think
like
we'll probably be able to throw a picture as well on the screen at some point. Well,
Yeah,
we
at
fight
some
these
point,
things.
probably.
I'm googling llama because I haven't seen a llama in a long time. Oh yeah, that's what they look like.
Yeah,
Long
but,
pandemic.
but like make it
Imagine
like
that,
a
but also a wolf. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a llama that came back in the pet cemetery.
Mm,
Uh, and,
They're so pretty.
and there you are. All that said, what would you guys like to do with these wolves?
Is this kind of a challenge situation?
Yes, this is specifically yeah. So this our long neck hill wolf situation. Yeah, it's a challenge.
Right.
Uh,
I think I've established fairly well that my main method of dealing with rampaging animals of any kind is like fire. So I think that's the approach I'm taking.
I think that's good for a sunfire elf.
But in this case, like, rings of fire and sheets of flame and things that will keep them away from all the people that we're trying to defend, as opposed to turning them into crispy critters, which I don't want to do.
I imagine like we probably have like a sibling formation that is just for this kind of thing, like from being in the military, where like we're trying to keep the threat away from our people. So like this is pretty standard for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's
I'm-
sort of what it looks like, Babakar, if the sort of description helps at all. So you have a challenge ahead of you right now of 4d6 that you're going to have to clear out. A couple of the four things that make up this 4d6 are: at the top of the hill, there's what is clearly an alpha wolf because it's slightly bigger. And not doing anything, so you know it's in charge. There
Looming.
are two groups of wolves that are sort of trying to like flank the refugees, and then there is one wolf that is not taking kindly to the fact that Pareka has completely peeled off from the group and is just like, "You've seen a dog," and is just walking up to a snarly, very mad wolf. She's just like holding Wiggy and just ruminating out loud about what she's going to name the wolf. So those are the 4d6s of this particular challenge pool.
I feel that maybe that's not good. So what I will do is move myself. Well, with this formation that we have, that's pretty cool. I like to call it "I'm the shield and she's the sword" sort of thing. So I'll summon up the circle of fire. Well, it's more like a ring of light, and then there's a bolt of fire. So it's not a spell that I have that I usually use. Well, okay, so
cool.
yeah, it is cool, but I'm gonna go up against. I want to try and take care of the one that's immediately a problem for Pareka, and just scare it away, spook it with fire bolts nearby, and try and keep it from advancing any further. And hopefully, Pareka will get the same sense that maybe she needs to not be close to the scary wolf. So, do you want to roll for the challenge first, so I can try and do it?
Yes, I'll roll for the challenge first. So let's drop my 4d6s in here. Babacar does not have any stress, I don't think. So let's roll away. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hey, you rolled all numbers above 1 this time.
Hey, hey, look, Llama Wolf. I told you.
Hey.
Where's the llama wolf?
Oh, he was up there for a second.
Briefly.
Now we're doing a roll, but it'll come back.
All right.
All right.
Okay. So try to do this pretty nimbly and quickly and forcefully, but I think probably I'm trying to spook, so influence is the one I'm using, even though it's not my best. And I am doing this to, well, I guess I could say I'm showboating, but I'm not really. This is trying to protect the people, so it's devotion. Hot-headed fire mage is the one I'm using for my distinction because that is all about the magic. And let's see, sun magic, and I get to use a spell too. Look how OP this is, Joe. I'm using 5 dice. All right, I'll roll that and see how I do.
That's what I thought I did, and then I got what I got.
I know you did. Okay, so I get a hitch. I got 14.
That looks like a heroic success, though.
Yes.
Doubly.
Yeah.
And you definitely so you're gonna take a little stress.
Yep.
I
will take out one of the dice though.
Yeah, that removes 1 from the dice pool.
Yep.
So Babacar sort of just gets like a little warning shot between this wolf and Pareka. The wolf like backs up and the snarls turn into like whoa 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 whoa, and but in wolf, like the wolf doesn't speak English. Sorry. Plot twist. The wolf just kind of and like kind of starts hauling ass back up the hill towards its alpha. Pareka like turns and is just like staring daggers at you, Babacar, and she's just like, "You scared Charles." So
oh no,
very unhappy. That said, Babacar, who should be going next?
Well, what stress do I take?
Oh yeah, you're just tuckered, man.
Oh, that's good. I'll take
A lot of spell casting today.
Yeah, a little
That's
tuckered
true.
stress. Yeah.
I got a plot point there. That's good. All right. I'm gonna have my sister go next.
#SunfireSibs. I kind of turned to Necrex, who, I've given him some commands again and again, and he usually fails at them, but I really need him to not this time, and I just tell him, protect your people, and then I'm just going like whole hog, gonna kind of make my way up kind of these rocks that are kind of floating around to try to get myself up to the looming alpha. And I want to out alpha it. I'm trying to just threaten it, not like actually hurt it. I'm just connecting to it in a way where it's like, hey, I'm the big dog.
Just making yourself very big.
Yeah.
I forget that. So let me I'll roll my now much smaller dice pool.
This,
So I'll
by the
roll-
way, is not part of the usual formation. Is my sister running off
You're
to?
like,
Yeah,
"Look."
and usually there's a wall of fire somewhere, but
All
figured
right.
we were breaking formation. Might as well go
All right,
for it.
valid.
All right. Oh, wait. I have stress that's not in there.
Oh wait, yeah, I should re-roll this.
Yes, I have a D8 angry and a D8 exhausted. So take your pick. They're both
Pick one.
D8s, but
Pick
it will
one, it'll be
narratively impact. I feel like both of them can.
So I think the one that's going to narratively impact you are exhausted. You're so tired. You just did whatever this is with a whole island. You're not even a magic person. You flew. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, here we go again.
There, okay, that's a little better. I'll take it.
No hitches for me to take advantage. Wait, I don't want any plot points. I don't care. Right. Alrighty. Well, this is gonna be, I think, my spirit. This is me showing this wolf who's boss. In a way that's not like I'm not talking to it. I'm just showing myself. This is justice. My great might represents defense, not destruction, because I'm not trying to hurt it. And this is gonna be. I'm gonna go Thickle Luck here in the hopes that it'll work out, and it's actually because there's all this like chaos behind me. I'm still kind of smoking from when I just like came out of my Sunfire Elf heat being form.
Right.
That it's just because like this tableau we've built, it's pretty scary. That maybe that just helps back me up. This is gonna be my animal training specialty, which I haven't used since I treated Feathershaw like an animal.
Yeah.
Those were the days. So
remember our simple beginnings.
simple times. So I got
Um,
2d10s, a d8, and a d6, and I'll roll those out. Oh, wow.
Whoa.
yeah, well,
That's tasty. That is a double heroic success.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Tell me what
Oh.
happens.
Well,
Tell him what happens.
mechanically what happens is I got a d12 and a d6 because that steps up twice. So I get to knock out a die and step one down. Does it step down to a d4 cam, or does that also get rid of a die?
I think it's gonna get rid of it.
So there's 1d6 left. So I do feel like I get up there smoking and I'm just like exhausted. So I'm also like hunched over and just like I get up and it's like I have this groan that's like a growl that comes out of me because I'm just so tired of all of the stuff that has happened today. And we meet eyes, and my eyes are still fiery and full of this energy from the Luxaria. And meeting my gaze, it's only a moment before this thing's like snarl falters, its tail falls between its legs, and it backs off, and I kind of like almost bark at it. Again, I'm just exhausted, and as it runs off, like that tells a number of them that aren't currently like, involved with others that already have some prey in their sights. They catch sight of that, and they're gonna turn tail with it.
Yeah, so the alpha runs off, and there is 1d6 left.
Yep.
And it does go next.
That's my sister.
Well, it doesn't go next because there is also one other person on this mountainside with you guys protecting folks from wolves. As one of the remaining groups, as you're sort of jumping up, there's like a group sort of like closing in on a group of people. The chicken wrangler is like clutching his babies and just putting them behind it, like, not my children.
Those chicken babies, though, right?
Kind of situation. So I'm gonna roll the remaining d6 of the crisis pool. Got a 3, cool, and I feel weird rolling against myself, but here we go.
Yep.
Because Babacar, you sort of look as you're like dealing with your thing, like you're dealing with this, and as you're kind of like, no, because it seems like all hope is lost for Ren the chicken wrangler, whose name is Ren. You guys have never asked his name, which is rude. But in that moment, Feathershaw leaps into action, apparently developing maybe a little bit of a conscience, maybe a little bit of this is their fault. So against that roll, I'm going to throw in Feathershaw's Catalyst die. I'm going to throw in Moonshadow Elf. I think some cobwebs sort of clear from Feathershaw's head a little bit. Feathershaw's been very like self-focused and what about me and like what's about to happen to me and how can I fix it. And I think Feathershaw remembers a little bit about their good intentions for trying to help their village in the first place and helping their fellows and their neighbors. And maybe in that moment realizes they've gone a little bit too far. Just a little bit too far. So, and for that reason, I'm also using Devotion, which is low in Feathershaw, but it's a baby feeling they're just experiencing for the first time.
They're just exploring.
Yeah, they're just exploring the feeling of being devoted to someone. And throwing in the moon magic and throwing in the owl feather cloak, which like starts to like spring out and just like billow behind them as they spring into action. Um,
At least you roll hitches for yourself too. Like
That's
for
weird.
when
We're being fair.
on one hand, it's a heroic success because
Yeah.
I rolled a 3.
Just as an aside, normally probably wouldn't have narrator characters rolling against narrator characters for some of the reasons that we're obviously seeing, which is
Agreed.
what do we do here? But I'm not going to tell you to stop doing it. I think it's fine. But I think those hitches just basically flat out don't add into anything and won't work, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more just sort of like story flair for this character. So as the dice pool sort of lands out, Feathershaw like leaps forward, and their cloak starts to glow, and the same moon magic that zapped all of you up to Anine envelops that group of wolves, and they just zap to a location unknown somewhere else in the mountain range.
someone else's problem.
Yeah,
That's
there's
awesome.
someone else's problem now.
Oh, Feathershaw, you're still yourself.
So you see all of these little like glowy purple zips go zip, 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 and those wolves live somewhere else now. That said, crisis pool eliminated. Well done, team. Folks are kind of coming out of hiding from the bits of rock and stuff like that they were hiding behind. Pareka is furious with Babelkar. And in that moment, Eljal lands with Winda.
All right.
Go ahead.
So now I gotta finish what I started earlier, which should definitely be easy for a super brave explorer.
Okay. So Alana is already sort of like barking orders and telling people to line up according to height and things like that, and is devising this very complicated system to make sure everyone is accounted for. It sounds like she is assigning people vowels if they are under 5 feet tall, but consonants if they are over 5'1". But then also rhyming letters also belong to a separate. It's just this. People are like kind of their eyes are glazing over, but she's like very in it. She's very in the zone. She's going to save her people.
Cool. So I lived. Glad to see you did too, considering I pushed you off that cliff. What's the plan here with the vowels and the consonants? How can I help?
Alana's just like, she like turns to like her eyes get really big as she's just like, oh no, you're an O, not a Q. The difference, because Q's have the thing like a lowercase t. So if you are a lowercase t, you're on the left. Uppercase T's are standing near the vowels. I know it takes a minute to pick up, but everyone, please, it makes sense and it's the best way. Winda.
Yeah, I lived. I'm alive.
I was. And then the librarian lady just completely gets between the two of you and is just like, human, you are a hero. You saved so many valuable books, including a lost tome of Sunfire magic that I thought was going to be lost to the lava below. You, human,
There's lava?
are my new best friend. Just like is just like clutching you and just hugging you and like just starts to sob like thank you so much, and like you can just kind of like see Alana standing there between the two of you.
This is so sweet, but I cannot tell you how not great the timing is already. And can't get you off. Don't know why I haven't learned by now that once an elf hugs you, you can't really get them off.
They
So
hug for life.
I'm gonna do this with her attached to me. So I'm not good at this, so maybe let's take a break from the plan for a quick second so I can get what I need to say out, because I've had trouble getting any full sentences out since the day I met you. So here's my first full sentence. Would you like to explore with me forever? Because I like you.
Okay. So, we're
And
going
I still have a
to.
sobbing elf attached to me.
So because of the elf attached to you, because of all the crazy things that are going on, and because both of you are really awkward, this is going to be a 2d8 difficulty test. So let's roll for romance.
What?
Joe's just salty because we did so well on everything else.
Yeah.
How many double successes did we get today?
So
Oh,
many. I think like
so many.
almost every roll we had.
This is a different thing.
Yeah.
In
This
the
is
book.
rolling for love.
It's in the book. I've seen it.
Oh my god.
It's a different thing. So
Uh,
you
I'm
got
reading a section right now, and it's really strict and it's mean.
Okay, so considering my attempts at romance have been foiled every step of the way today, tried to tell her I like her, shoved her off a cliff, tried to do it again, I now have a sobbing elf attached to me. I'm wondering if awareness is the attribute that I use here, because
Is this
Winda
the right place and time?
is really just super hyper aware as to like how unromantic this entire thing has been. But also that time is not on her side. And then we're going, I don't know. All right, so here's where I'm going to get sappy for a bit. Is this devotion or is this liberty because she finds a sense of freedom in Alana?
Liberty. You've sold me on liberty.
Yeah.
Right.
We always use devotion, so let's switch it
Yeah.
up.
Let's switch it up because, yeah, Winda said she wanted to be paid in either loot or possibility, and she's looking at possibility.
I'm also giving you a D6 asset called Returning Hero.
Because I came from the sky. And then I'm gonna go with let me see. Do I want foolhardy friend or trailblazing hunter? Because I've just been trying at this all day. I'm gonna go foolhardy because I'm doing this with literally a crying elf attached to my chest. And I'm gonna go ahead and roll.
Really quick.
Yes.
I'm you have a stress, yeah?
Yes.
So before we do this, I just want to point out you have a cool SFX, right? That lets you take away your what is it you have injured? I think you can get rid of that if you have a plot point.
Oh, really?
You just have
Yeah.
to change into something else. So I guess maybe it won't help. Never mind. Yeah.
Edge.
Good
I just
know,
realized you have to turn it
though.
into something else, so Joe can probably still use it unless he picks something that won't really apply to the situation.
I mean, that's good to know in case I I don't know.
I mean, I didn't
Roll a
want to make
4.
this impossible, but Mellie hates love, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely hate love.
Yep.
Oh
If I
man.
had a
Love
plot
neither.
point, I'd be throwing it at Vanessa right now.
Oh my god, this is a explorer's version of do you like me? Check yes or no. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll for romance. My computer's being really
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
You know.
Romantic success.
Well, as you get that out, Alana is at first is like, well, this mountain is full of monstrous centipedes and angry wolves, and I have to finish getting all of these people into groups and get them to a safer place than this mountain, because also our home is still above us, but it's also kind of not our home anymore, and it might fall. I don't know what happens with the primal well next, and probably I don't know. Gnostics is probably skulking around, and maybe there needs to be some justice here. By the way, what exactly was happening with Gnostics? Because I wasn't quite there. And as you sort of rambling and having this anxiety attack, what happens, Winda?
Right as she's rambling and having this anxiety attack, I'm just gonna take a leap of faith and lean in to kiss her, but I still have an elf in between me.
Meanwhile, Eljal also just kind of hanging out there, who also just returned from the sky. Also, no big deal.
Also heroic. Also
Yeah.
incredibly heroic. Kind of like,
Actually
oh,
has
okay,
the
cool.
book in question.
I'm actually just scrolling through the pages and then I look up and I'm like, oh, notice the kissing.
The blubbering elf in between us.
Well, Feathershaw kind of saddles up beside you, Eljaw, and is kind of also watching, and is just like, okay, special purpose found.
Check.
Did someone say Sunfire Mage book? What?
Oh yeah, that's what this is.
I just dusting off my hands while I wait for my sister to come back and for this to simmer down. I wouldn't mind having a look at that book if you don't mind.
I guess. Sure. Here.
Thank you.
Just make sure to give it back to. I look for the librarian and.
The librarian is sandwiched between Winda and Alana.
I think
Oh,
the
well, you know
librarian's
what?
a little busy at the
Yeah,
moment.
they're busy. Go ahead. Yeah, take your time.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. He's trapped.
The librarian doesn't actually see Alana or what's happening. He just thinks she's getting like a really great hug back from Winda. It's just like, let it all out, patting you on the back, like, yeah. The emotions come after the adrenaline leaves your body.
I read that in a book.
Eljaw Feathershaw sort of not like pulls you off to the side, but definitely sort of sidebars with you, right, physically with their body. And it's just like, what's next for you?
Party members.
You're muted for
Am
the
I
beginning
Yeah,
of it.
you know.
Oh, that's weird.
Sorry, you're back.
I look around at my fellow party members. Well, I'm not sure, but kind of like this group that I've been hanging with. So probably gonna keep doing that.
Okay.
But I think I know what you're really asking.
Well, I don't mind them either. I mean, I'm not surprised. I've recruited all of you for very specific reasons and, knew that this amount of chemistry would definitely come through. Benetta, where are you at this point? Have you kind of like wandered over or?
No, I think I'm still up where that llama wolf was, the hill wolf. Because I kind of like collapsed, like, oh, I'm exhausted after we verified everything was good. And as I kind of like get my energy back to me, I kind of stand and I'm just looking over the people and kind of taking stock of everything. But I do notice like that, we're still missing a person. And so I kind of get a little like worried about Noxix. So I'm maybe going to try to get a little bit more height on where I am just to like see if on any of these floating rock pieces that have been coming in, if I can see any sign of him.
Cool. So as you sort of like climb up the rocks, you sort of pull yourself up, onto this like sort of outcropping so that you can get a really good glance at everything. And as you pull up, there's a boot right in front of your face.
Well, does it look like Nassic's boot?
There's a moment where you're like, ah, and you hear Necrex, and Necrex goes, oh, Kyra, and jogs up and like scrambles up next to you, and there's just one of the statues. The statues is there. And he's like, okay, that's the whole set, and like picks up this Kyra statue, and hey, thanks for
Nicholas.
Yeah.
But I told you back in the keep to watch Nossix that he was gone. Do you know what happened to him?
Yeah, I was tying him up and he hit me really hard in the throat, and that's why my voice is different now. That's why, like, instead of like, how like normally in other episodes of Roll and Keep, when I've just like kind of sounded like this, like now I kind of sound a little raspier, and I'm asking things with a question inflection for some reason. That's why.
Of course.
Yeah,
Happens to the best of us.
he kind of hit me and then ran away, which was rude because I don't know if you're aware of this, but he turned my dad and a bunch of my friends into statues, and then without even apologizing, punched me in the neck. So
Yes, I think that he has many crimes that he's going to need to answer for.
yeah,
Let me
one
have
neck
you-
punching for one.
Yes, I think we'll come up with a list of charges.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm the democratically elected sheriff of the town, so I'll be the one doing the arresting.
Of course. May I help you bring your friend down?
Oh yeah, you want to grab the legs?
Yes.
The two of you sort of like walk down this like frozen young skywing elf lady. And as you're walking, he just sort of like casually and sort of sadly is like, you know, I had asked her to be my date to the Moonlight Festival dance, and after I asked her, she vanished. Now I don't have to take it quite so personally.
Well, maybe.
The silver lining. Hopefully, once Babuka can take some time to look at everyone, maybe we can find a way to fix them. And then, maybe once we get everybody to a safe and not ready to collapse mountainside, you can have another Moonlight Festival.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, are all Sunfire elves as calming yet chaotic as you two? Because like
No,
on one
I'm
hand
just
you're like weirdly
exhausted,
like,
honestly.
oh, no, yeah, I get that. I'm pretty tired too. You know, carried my dad off of a you know, regurgitating a vomiting island. But cool, yeah. You know, you need a nap too. Whatever. You guys get the statue back to back to.
I just like gesture to the primal well.
And as the group is sort of back together, Feathershaw kind of completes that thought that was to Eljaw, kind of to the whole group, and says, "I was wrong, and I owe you an apology, and I owe these people an apology." And you owe me an apology. And Feathershaw's like, I do. And kneels down next to Pareka and is like, I owe you an apology too, little one. And then Pareka's like, and you owe me an apology for Charles. And like, just like angrily points at Babakar.
I'll say, you know, Pareka, if you try harder, you can turn that rage into strength.
It like that passes through her like you must come with me to Alderaan and learn the ways of the Jedi. Like you just like her, and you see like her little fists like ball up, and she gives you a little Miyazaki, you know, determined. And now you've made Pareka a weird character for the next time we come back to the story. Feathershaw kind of looks at the group and gestures to the well and says, regardless, I'm still here for the well. My home still needs it. And I could use your help getting it there.
Do you think your home has room for a city of Skywing elves that haven't any place to go?
The thought had crossed my mind, and they look at Alana, who the two of them did a lot of off-camera bonding when they were getting people through the bridge, and they give Alana kind of a nod and say, I hope so. I think so.
Well, Necrex is the democratically elected official here, so if anyone's going to make any decisions...
Necrex like stands up for like his big moment to address the village and is like, Well then, in that case, by the power appointed in me by the people of Anine and all of the traditions representative thereof, and Alana just steps in and is just like, "We're going with Feathershaw."
Oh boy.
It's like, whoa. But so sort of that's like little bit of moments go by. We'll sort of move the scene forward a little bit. People are gathered in their groups and picking up possessions. It seems like the complete set of frozen statue people has been found. So folks have been sort of pulling chunks of material out of the thing, the floating vomit pile that is Anine. To build little wagons and slabs to carry things on and stuff like that. And as everyone's sort of like preparing to descend back down into the Xadian side of the mountain. For this group, is there anything, any unfinished business, anything any of you would like to do or say or be?
Is there anything in this book that can help me figure out if there's a way that I can maybe restore the statue people, like using the power of the sun as to bring warmth back to, or revive, or otherwise coax out of them their elven life.
You're starting to find a lot of interesting leads in this tome. A lot of interesting theories on sunfire magic that even the Forge didn't necessarily teach. You're not quite sure who wrote this thing, in fact, but because some of it you're kind of like, we were specifically told not to approach things this way.
Yep.
Back at the academy. But that said, you sort of start to find some interesting theories, and although you don't quite know what it is Gnostics did to these people, you start to find sort of interesting theories. So go ahead for Babacar, throw a D10 asset in there, Lost Sunfire Magic. So as you are sort of traveling eastward, you are hot on the tail of finding a solution for Gnostics' dad and his homecoming date. Eljal, what's up with you?
Well, yeah, I'm still thinking about what Feathershaw said to me, and now it seems that we are going back to their home, which is close to my home, right? From what I remember. So I'm just a bit worried now about what I will find back home, or if I will be seen or not, and so I'm a bit worried.
So Eljal sort of joining this small, slow-moving caravan, sort of a victorious, won the day, has that cloak of flight sort of wrapped around them, but still, very stressed and uncertain about the future and whether Feathershaw meant it or not. And Feathershaw was kind of being manipulative and crappy about it. But, it's even no apology can kind of take that worry out of Eljal's head. Winda?
I want to take Alana's hand and look her in the eyes and say, well, I know I'm in for so many questions about what it's like to be human and how I function, and most of them I'm not even entirely sure of myself. I have a really important question for you, and that is, what did you do with my crossbow? It's really hard for me to get another one.
Alana's like, yeah, about that. What's in human culture, what's a first couple fight usually like? Are they fun? Are they good? This is fine. Vanessa?
This should be fun.
I mean, I think most of my time in this travel is just spent helping everyone as much as I can. You know, anybody who's older or younger or feebler, that's just sort of what I do. But at the same time, probably Eljal has passed on what happened with Nosix. And that's just weighing very heavily on my mind because we have the Primal Well, which is the thing they care about. We have all their people, which they care about. So every time I'm doing something with them, like, you know, helping people over a fallen tree, I just kind of get this like prickle on the back of my neck, and I'm just always kind of looking over my shoulder.
Yeah. And you know, we'll sort of back up, you know, a few moments, the moments of actually reclaiming the well. We won't get into the finer, ridiculous, insane details of it, but you know, it does. Everyone is sort of able to figure out how to deactivate it and position everyone safely so that the remains of Anine, you know, fall into the breach in between Xadia and the human kingdoms to the west. Those last remnants of this lost culture sort of vanishing.
And I've
But
also, sorry, I've also,
go ahead.
I think, given the cuirass to Feathershawl so that they can sort of command the well, because I wanted to help people, and I couldn't do that if I was carrying a giant
Cool.
well.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Feathershawl, who I guess their name has to be updated now that they have two very striking pieces of clothing on, is now, you know, wearing the cuirass, holding the Primal Well, sort of investigating it, but also talking with Necrex and the blacksmith. Feathershawl has been very sort of like humble and quiet and apologetic to everyone. It seems very genuine. It seems very legit. But Vanetta, as you are, you know, so focused on just sort of helping everyone sort of stumble forward to the east, it's surprising that you don't notice the group of rather sinister-looking moon shadow elves that have been following the group since they came down from the mountain. And that is where we will end our adventure into Tales of Xadia for now.
Wow.
Season finale cliffhanger.
No.
Oh.
After we literally flew off a cliff. Oh my gosh.
Gotta have a cliffhanger. Hey, thank you guys so much for playing this game with me. Cam, thank you so much for being a stern but fair rules daddy. I very much appreciate it.
You did an
Thank you all.
excellent job, Joe. Excellent job.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you for
thank you.
being such a good word boy, Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you. I try to do good at the words. Aliza, Vanessa, it's always super fun to have you two here.
Oh, it's a blast.
And again, Mellie, you are frustratingly integral to my day-to-day now, so I very much appreciate having you at the table. Thank you all so much for hanging out and watching with us. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate Wonderstorm for letting us mess around in this sandbox. Again, even though the material being created is canon, I'd say for the Dragon Prince, what we are doing with it is definitely not. You know, these are official materials being presented by Wonderstorm, but for the instance of things like a vomiting island, that was just me making stuff up because I didn't know what to do. So if season 4 of the Dragon Prince does not address the vomiting island situation, that's not on them. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please stick with us. Join us next week. We're going to be in a whole new setting, a whole new world, a whole new story. Mellie's going to be narrating. Mellie, let them know one more time what we're going to be getting into.
Eidolon Alpha, Greek heroic adventures, kaiju monsters. You won't want to miss it.
It's going to be awesome. We will see you guys here next week on Rolling Keep and pre-order Tales of Xadia.
Yes.
And one last thing is March 16th on our Discord. That's next Tuesday at 3 p.m. PT. Come and join for an AMA with Mr. Joe Starr about GMing Tales of Xadia, the Lost Oasis, and get some tips about how all this stuff went. So come and join, ask questions, have a good time.
Sit at the feet of the wise word boy. All right, guys,
I see you
thank
promoted
so
yourself.
much. That's our show. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.